Welcome, everybody. This is the Hash Driveway Show. My name is Josh.
And I'm your host, Aiden.
And I'm the co-host. We're co-hosts together.
Yep, like two business partners.
Yeah, except shittier.
Yeah, we don't have a business yet.
Well, so basically our thing here is that we're just two good buddies, known each other our whole lives, grew up together, and we just had to start a podcast up like everyone else.
Yeah, we're just two good Midwestern boys for right now.
Yeah, Midwest. We're losers compared to people that live in California. But we make it work.
California's filled with homeless people and douchebags.
That's true. Well, all the influencers you see all live in California.
Yeah, they usually move out there, though. A lot of people are from there just because it's a big-ass state.
Yeah. I don't know. And then the way you're on social media, and the way that people talk about people that live in the Midwest. But that's mostly because it's mostly conservative people that live here.
Yeah.
So we get a bad rep.
Well, most people don't even talk about us. We're just the flyover state.
That's true.
As Hillary Clinton said.
The flower, yeah. That's why nobody voted for her. But anyway, what else? Well, what is all really considered the Midwest? It's a broad term of like the middle of the country.
Technically, we're the Middle East, but that term has some bad connotations.
Yeah, you can't call us the Middle East.
Yeah.
I did think about that one time, and really, we are closer to the east part of the state. But
yeah, like if we're on the eastern part of the Mississippi, but the Midwest is basically just any state where like a lot of people are farmers or work in industry, and I don't know. I guess we have an accent, but I don't really notice it.
Do we though?
I feel like ours is just the base, and then like everybody else has accents, but they're all derivatives of our natural way of speaking.
Yeah, baby, the Midwest. Well, I feel like a lot of people here have like the hillbilly.
Yeah,
the hillbilly twang.
Here, but we're the southernmost northern state. I don't know the term, but basically we're a southern state stuck in the north.
The accent here is just stupidity. People just don't talk right.
Yeah. Doesn't matter where you go. Go to the ghetto, go to the country.
It's all here, folks.
Yep.
It's we're in Indiana. Indiana, Ohio, Michigan, Illinois, Tennessee, Kentucky. That's pretty much is that the Midwest, or is there more around it? I'm sure there's more states.
Consider West Virginia, Tennessee. You can even go further. You can go further west. You got Missouri, you got Arkansas, you got the Dakotas. Nebraska's definitely Midwest.
That's Midwest though.
A lot of people, it's a hard. I don't know if there's an actual definition to it. That's just how I think of it. I think there's another term for like west of the Mississippi. What do they call it? Great Plains.
Great Plains, baby. The Louisiana Purchase.
That might be the only spot that is worse than the Midwest is the Great Plains. But don't quote me on that. I've never been there.
Well, here we are, folks. This is it. We were just before this trying to come up with a great name for this podcast, and just something about the simplicity of the Hash Driveway. I just liked it.
If anybody knows what that is a reference to, you're cool as shit.
Yeah, and if not, don't worry about it.
Yeah.
I don't even really want to say, honestly, because
it's just... I don't know if we're allowed to say or how that works, but...
Yeah, it's just simple, it's awesome, it's cool. If you get it, you get it. If you don't worry about it. It's the name of the show. But we were trying to really find something that was like just screamed Midwestern. Midwest person. Midwest, whatever.
Yeah. We had a lot of ideas. We looked up a couple. We tried to use Midwestern stereotypes.
Yeah, like ope. People here say ope, apparently.
They say pop instead of soda. And they say, what was that? I forget the other one?
Jeet? Was it Jeet?
Did you eat? Jeet?
Jeet. Did you eat? A mix of 3 words.
Oh, my bad.
Yeah, excuse me.
Yeah.
But
we're very polite here.
Oh, yeah, so that's what I was like, is that like I thought that was a Canadian thing, but apparently it's more
They say
A. Yeah, and we're also trying to think of like corn related shit, because fucking corn grows here apparently.
We got a lot of corn, got a lot of churches, got a lot of strip clubs.
Got a lot of meth labs.
Yeah, meth.
Yeah.
That's what we here. I mean, Fort Wayne, there is meth, but once you go to like the country areas outside of Fort Wayne, it's just
there's tons of
crazy.
Meth. Tons of meth.
Yep. Hell of a drug right there.
But so a bit more about Aiden and I. We are good buddies, went to school all of our life, grew up all of our life. You know, our moms took turns babysitting us. You know, best friends forever since I can remember. Went to the same school. I think I already said that.
Yeah,
but
we were born in the same hospital, one day apart.
Yeah.
Our moms actually saw each other there.
And that's when
I feel like it was just destined to be, man.
That's exactly what happened. That our moms seen each other, and they just reconnected again because they went to school together. But I don't think they were like good friends. I think your mom was like my aunt's age, and they just knew each other. I don't know.
Yeah, I feel like it's a Midwest thing to like just see people that you know in a random spot, and then you just catch up with them. Like, I feel like if you're in like New York or LA, like you don't see anybody you know because they're so goddamn big.
Well, and it's just another thing, like, people here are too polite, you know. It's like nowhere else, like, hey, I knew that person 10, 15 years ago. Let me go say hi to them. I barely knew them, but let me go say hi to them anyway. It's like, really don't have that much going on to the point to where, like, I'm gonna go bother that person when they just gave birth.
Yeah.
I don't know.
And plus, like, they were both out of high school, so you're out of that, like, the hierarchy of high school, so you can talk to people that you wouldn't have talked to before.
Yeah.
Because I found that, like I had, like, some friends in high school, but there were a lot of people that, like, I just didn't talk to because they just did different shit. But, like, I see them in college or I see them outside after high school, and we can just talk like normal people. Like, there's not that, like, I have to be cool, I can't talk to you, all that stuff. Everybody just kind of mellows out and doesn't give a shit.
Yeah, I hated that, man. I mean, I think mostly for me, I think me finally meeting my wife and being in a serious relationship, I think that gave me a real confidence boost. But I think you are right. It's just, you know, being out of high school, being out of that everyday, like you said, hierarchy of, you know, I don't know. I don't know. You wouldn't talk to the same people as you usually would, I guess.
Yeah, it's weird. High school was a weird time.
Yeah. What else are we gonna talk? We're gonna talk about just you know, weird stories. You know,
yeah. This is what, since you brought up your wife.
Yeah.
I think you should tell everybody the story of the. Was Cameron's party?
I'm worried.
Don't use names. Well, we already
I
used
don't
it.
care.
Cameron will be on the show.
He's
probably.
gonna be on the show.
So, was Cameron's party the first night that you?
No.
Actually, yeah, we met at the Tin Caps game.
Yeah, we went to a local baseball game.
I forgot about that.
Well, does that count?
Like, me and you didn't even talk to her, so I feel like it doesn't count.
Yeah, like, cause, you know, our friend Cameron, who's like the third amigo, you know, he wasn't, you know, in our little group or whatever until later in our friendship, but still as close as we are. And he invited us to a baseball game. He went to a different high school than we went to. We all went to the same middle school. So this is in high school, and he had some extra tickets to this baseball game. We went with him. He seen this girl he went to school with, and said hi. We even got a picture taken of the four of us, even though
That's so random.
Aiden
We got a picture taken.
I know.
I mean, it's funny. It's funny looking back on it now that you all are married, but it
Yeah.
made no sense at the time.
Yeah, it was pretty weird. I didn't think anything of it so much that I threw up the shocker. I had a double shocker going on.
And if y'all don't know what that
Yeah.
is, it's 2 in the pink, 1 in the stink.
Yeah, it's
Or 1 in, I think, or no, yeah, it's 2 in the pink.
2 in the pink, 1 in the stink. It's a
hand gesture.
Yeah, a hand gesture you can do. It's basically all your fingers are out except for your ring finger.
Yeah, it's like throwing up a gang sign, but you're not gonna get shot over it.
And so, you know what, people, don't sabotage your photos like that, because you may be in, even though it seems like a random ass picture, that might be your wife someday.
Yep.
So, yeah, that
maybe that's why y'all are married. She saw that shocker and she's like, "That's my man right there."
I looked like such a stupid idiot. Like, I had a freaking mohawk. I had a shirt that just said Florida on it, and then I threw up the double shocker. But, you know, yeah, I think after that, like, I followed her on Twitter or something weird, something creepy. And then,
that's too creepy.
and then I remembered we were liking each other's tweets. I mean, it was a slow process. And then started tweeting lyrics to a Weezer song. And then I got her phone number, and after that, it was history.
Bada bing.
Yeah, and then met at Cameron's party.
Getting to the party.
Yeah, the party.
Now, this is when I think, were we 18 or 19? Somewhere in that range.
18.
Senior year of high school. We just started drinking. Like, we got into alcohol and drugs late.
Okay, so which party are you talking about? The garden party or Cameron's party?
Cameron's party. I'm talking about where you met.
Oh, okay.
The garden party, we'll get to it another time.
Okay.
I think that's a weird story.
Yeah.
But, like, we just started drinking. Our buddy's mom let him have a party at his house. And, I mean, I wish my parents were like that, but at least one of us had a cool parent.
Yeah,
that could, like, monitor us.
I would rather you drink here than somewhere else is pretty much the attitude.
It makes so much more sense.
Yeah, but then there's a likelihood of your shit getting broken or stolen. I don't think I could ever do that if I were ever a parent.
Yeah, I'd have too much anxiety. Was she there?
I'm pretty, yeah. I mean,
that's even more, like...
I'm pretty sure.
I'm gonna stay with you while you have a party, son.
Her and her boyfriend at the time were there kind of chaperoning. Which it doesn't even sound like, this was a legit party. Like, there was no order. People weren't sitting on the couch having a conversation. This was a fucking hell party.
This was a 75% of the people are gonna black out party.
Yeah, it was, dude. Oh my god. Yeah, I mean, the parents being involved don't think anything less of it. I mean, it was pretty nuts. I mean, I blacked out. For sure I did.
Yeah, so Josh blacked out, so he probably doesn't. I mean, he's heard stories, but he doesn't remember much.
I've heard the stories. Yeah. Yes.
From what I remember, which I blacked out partially, but I still have like bits and pieces in there. I remember I saw you and in the garage. I don't remember if you guys were talking. And then fast forward a little bit. Josh gets drunk as shit, walks out to the garage, and he falls over on a chair and breaks it. And this was like a metal chair too. This wasn't no like
metal chair.
I think it was a metal chair.
Like a lawn chair.
Or like it was one of those chairs like the fold-out chairs, like this when I'm sitting on now.
Oh, okay.
you destroyed it, dude. It was so fast. And then fast forward a little bit later. We had to lock Josh in Cameron's room, and with a bunch of other drunk big dudes.
Yeah, with other fat drunk dick
they
guys.
all threw up everywhere. It was all different colors. Devin's was orange. I'm using names, but I'm not using last names. Devin's was orange because he had orange spray paint on his hair because that was the school color. Josh's was brown. I don't know
brown
why.
or black. I think that just means I had alcohol poisoning.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know what that means. Probably not a great sign.
Probably not
but
good. I lived.
Yeah, he lived. He met his wife, and it's a love story right there.
Somehow she did not take the red flags.
I think she
seriously.
left. I think she left before you got too stupid.
Oh, okay. Oh, that's good. Some other guy drove her home. She didn't take the red flags though, luckily, and she continued to text me, and everything was kosher. Everything was good.
I feel like every man has some red flags, but
every person has.
Every person does, but like with women, it's harder to like see them at first. I think, because they tend to put on like this, like outside like niceness.
Mm-hmm.
That like it's hard to like see their actual personality from how they interact with you right when they meet you.
Right. Yeah, I can see that. I mean,
like, men tend to be more like transparent about certain things. I mean, it depends on what you're talking about.
It's because women think too much and men don't think at all.
Yeah.
So if you're a woman and you're looking at a man, I mean, and this is not the case all the time. Obviously, a lot of times.
This is just a generalization.
A lot of times, women can just see right through to the bullshit, you know. But sometimes, you know, they have this facade, like you said, this fake, and then, you know, what I can't think of a good analogy, but if you're focusing so much on yourself, it's hard to really read into other people, I guess is what I'm trying to say. But, you know, I just have that charm, baby. I mean,
got that just like your dad.
Yeah. Boy, you are saying a lot of names.
I didn't say your dad's name.
I know, but
it's fine. No, it's hard to tell stories without using names.
I know. Well, I know.
Like, how am I supposed to say we were at
our
friend's house? Our other friend threw up orange stuff. This other girl married Josh. I don't know. I have to say names sometimes.
It's fine. It's okay. It's fixable.
Yeah, I feel like if we just don't use last names, like, well, I don't know. I feel like it should work out. If somebody has an issue and they listen to the podcast, we'll make changes.
Call us in.
Yeah, call us.
And we'll have you on the show.
Shit, I don't want to put my number out there though.
You don't? Come on, dude. I was counting on you to put your number out there.
Fine, yeah, I already
I'm just kidding.
I already get a bunch of bullshit messages.
Don't.
Oh my god.
It's okay.
We'll get into that another time.
We'll make a Twitter, bro. That's what you do. You make a freaking Twitter.
I was actually thinking about that before, but
okay. I'm gonna let you do that because I have too many Twitter accounts. You know, it is what it is. I don't know if you want to get into that. I probably wouldn't. But
I'll get into it at some point.
At some point.
It's not a first podcast kind of deal.
Yeah, not on the first pod. Like, you don't want to, just like.
I can't share all my secrets. We gotta keep the people like coming back and wanting more.
Yeah, exactly. You know, you can't.
Can't just share my life story right now.
You can't just give them the puss in the first date, or else we'll be one and done. Won't call, won't text. You know, that stuff.
Yep.
You gotta drag it out a little bit longer.
Yep.
But I think with that, we're gonna go to a commercial break, and we'll be right back.
Welcome back, folks.
Welcome.
So, here's a question that I don't know if anybody has ever had, but what is it like to grow up in Indiana? I don't know if anybody gives a shit, but that's what we're going to talk about today.
It's fucking miserable.
I mean, yeah, it's not the best, but I don't really have much to compare it to besides like this 5 months I was in Colorado.
Yeah, well, I mean, how different could it really be? You know, like, what's the differences between here and somewhere? I've already talked about California. What about here versus someone that grew up in, you know, California, LA, San Francisco, you know?
They get the ocean.
Yeah, the ocean.
They got Hollywood.
We don't have an ocean.
Yeah, we got, like, Lake Michigan on the very tip.
Ah, it's cold as shit.
Yeah.
But basically, we didn't grow up in in the cornfield. You know, we grew up in Fort Wayne. It's you know, not the biggest city. It kind of sucks,
Yeah,
but at least
in here we're considered city boys.
yeah, yeah.
But it's very different here. Like basically, if you just didn't grow up on a farm, you're a city boy. But
Yeah.
like if I went to like any big city, they would just think I'm some hick.
Yeah, so that's the weird
We're just like this middle of the road.
that's the weird thing, you know. It's like interacting with other people in Fort Wayne. Yeah, we're city boys because there are a lot of people that come into town that live out in the rural areas
Live
of
out in the
India.
boonies.
Yeah, you know, grew up on a farm or just a country road. But compared to people that live on, you know, the East Coast or the West Coast, you know, we're not interesting. Like you told me that when you've traveled, um, you had to lie to people because
Yeah.
you didn't want people to think that you're boring.
Yeah, I was in Colorado, and I had a German friend, and we would always go to his weird foreign student events, and like all these college students were from like some cool country, like Germany, or Taiwan, or like anything. And then I was just there, and I'm like, I'm from Indiana. And I would say that to people. Like, me and my buddy would go up to people, and he'd be like, yeah, I'm from Germany. And they'd be, oh, that's cool. What's Germany like? And they'd have, like, this fucking 20-minute conversation. And then they get to me, and you're like, where are you from? I'm like, I'm from Indiana. And they just walk away. So then I was like, all right, I'm from Washington, and I'm from Seattle because I like Seattle.
Yeah.
I don't know shit about Seattle. And one time I said it to this lady, I'm like, I'm from Seattle. She's like, oh, I live there. Where are you from? I'm like, from the south part? I have no idea.
I would have said Aberdeen. That's like the only because that's
I
for
have no idea. I know like the Space Needle, and that's it.
yeah. Well, I'm just saying 'cause that's like where Kurt Cobain is. I'm assuming Aberdeen is close to Seattle, but that's what I would have just said.
Yeah.
Just because I have that knowledge of Kurt Cobain.
Yeah.
But man, it sucks. I mean, you know, we're not interesting because we're from the Midwest. So, I guess that's just pretty much the whole point of this podcast. You know, it's just because we feel like we're misunderstood.
Yeah.
We're not a bunch of losers just in the middle of the cornfield.
I feel like I've seen a lot of crazy stuff here that you wouldn't see anywhere else, or in most other places. Granted, like if you're in New York, you're gonna see a lot of crazy stuff.
Yeah.
But like the crazy stuff you see here is like, why is this happening?
Yeah, I mean,
Makes no sense.
there's stupid people everywhere, but
Yeah,
I mean,
like here, it's just like stupid stuff doesn't happen as much because there's less people.
uh-huh.
So when something stupid happens, it's like a big deal and everybody knows about it.
Well, yeah, I mean, in a way, but we don't live in that small of a city where it's like everybody knows everybody.
Yeah,
I mean,
not
Fort Wayne
everybody.
isn't that small.
But like if something like crazy happened here, I don't know. I guess we don't really have we don't have shootings. We don't have much crime. We just have like people being idiots, like running over the Amish. That's a big issue here.
Yeah, the Amish.
Yeah, they like to run over their buggies when they're drunk.
Just explain to some people if you're out there and you don't know what the Amish are, which I feel like at this
I feel
point,
like everybody's heard of them, but most people haven't met one.
yeah, well, because there's like that whole MTV or whatever show, Breaking Amish. Like, I feel like I feel like most people anymore know what Amish people are.
Yeah.
But it's basically a community of people.
It's a religion.
There's different kinds. Yeah, they're very religious. They're Christian, right? Like
Yeah, it's a Christian
Jesus.
religion.
And they dress very plain. You know, they're only
Basically, it's like if you just took somebody out of like the 1880s and put them into today without changing anything about them.
Yeah.
That's just what they are. They just haven't changed anything for like 100 years.
They're like pilgrims.
Kinda, yeah.
That's what they like.
They just live out in the country, do whatever they want, have sex with their cousins.
Yeah.
Not all of them.
I mean,
though.
they have to though.
Yeah.
Because it's not like people become like Amish.
Yeah.
There's not that many of
They're
them.
a little limited.
I mean, I feel like sometimes they probably have to like trade daughters, like the Pittsburgh Amish or the Pennsylvania Amish and the Indiana Amish or something
Yeah.
like that. But they don't drive cars. They have a horse and buggy, so that's very
Yeah.
weird.
And they drive very slow, and at night you can't see them, but they do put lights on their buggies now, which I don't know how they like see that as acceptable in their religion. But I feel like Jesus would let it pass as long as so that you don't get run over by a drunk person.
Oh, fucking God, excuse me. Yeah, I mean, I see Amish people do all sorts of things. Like, I don't think they're as strict anymore. Like, I see them at Walmart's. They have, I mean, some of them have cell phones. They're
Well,
shopping at
those are
Walmart.
usually Mennonite, which is a little different. Like they're like Amish, but they're a little more like open to technology and stuff.
Hmm.
It's basically they're just like Amish religion, but not the lifestyle kind of.
Hmm. Yeah, I don't know too much about it, so I don't want to, say something wrong, but I'm just saying, like, based off what I see, it's almost like they're using it as like just as like a tax scam, because they don't have to pay, they don't have to pay taxes.
I don't think they pay income tax or property tax, but I'm not sure on that.
Yeah, I'm not
I know
sure
there's some
either.
taxes they don't have to pay, which I mean I get that. I'm not really gonna complain about it. It's just a weird situation.
It's not. I don't think it's worth it. I mean,
Yeah,
I
like
don't
you
know.
just make a little bit of money and you just piss them off, and that's the last thing we need is some pissed off Amish people. They already don't like us.
Yeah,
They don't. Well, I mean, I'm not gonna say all of them don't like normal people, but it's just I don't know. There's just like there's so many differences between us, and some of them like speak German. I don't know if they exclusively speak German.
Yeah, like they're Dutch or something like that.
Yeah, because we went to Grable to the Amish fair, and I was with my German buddy, and he tried talking to one of the girls in German because he wanted to date an Amish girl really bad. I don't know how he knew what they were, but he just knew that what Amish meant right when I told him.
Wow.
And he's like, I need to go get an Amish girl. But she didn't speak the same German. She spoke like some different. She like Switzerland German. I don't know.
Weird.
Yes, it's different. Which I mean, they are speaking German that's like older.
Do you think the Amish are racist?
I mean, I don't want to infer anything, but if they're like practicing 1880s Christianity,
Yeah.
there's probably a hint
okay.
of a little bit of racism in there.
I guess we'll just say they could be.
Yeah.
Because there's not okay, Amish people are white. There are some
Usually.
Hispanic. There's I forget the group of Amish, and there's some Hispanic people in that. I forget what they're called. I feel like I need to look that up now because I don't want to just say shit, But Amish is boring. I don't want to talk about Amish people all the time. But outside of the city here in Fort Wayne, we got like one skyscraper. Outside of the city.
We got a couple tall. I don't
Yeah,
even know
okay.
if that's considered a skyscraper.
Well, yeah.
It's not scraping much of the sky, but
Yeah.
it's like the biggest building, like I don't decent radius.
We sound so lame, dude.
Yeah.
Okay, Fort Wayne isn't bad. It's not bad.
Yeah, you can get an apartment for like $400 a month.
Okay, I can't find.
That's about the extent of the benefits.
I can't find the Hispanic Amish people name, but I swear I learned that on that Breaking Amish show. So if you know that,
Well, I
then you
mean,
probably know
like
that.
every religion kind of has their like traditional type of like practicers.
Uh-huh.
Like the Jews have the Hasidic Jews who wear the hats and they have the braids and they have to grow their beard out.
Yeah.
They take it very seriously. I mean, I'm sure there's one in Islam. Buddhists have the monks that just sit in their temples all day on a mountain. Like every religion has their like people that like are by the book. We gotta take this word by word. Can't step out of line. Everybody has that every group has that kind of. I feel like that's just how humans are. Some people just take things very literally, and other people just are like, nothing's real.
That's true.
I don't know what to think. I don't know.
Well, I mean, no, that's true. I mean, I feel like a lot of times people generalize too much. Like, the truth is, you can't generalize about anything.
I mean, you can, but you have to like generalize it in like a statistic way.
You have to generalize it in a generalized way.
This is always the case for this type of person. It'll never work out. But if like statistics, you can say this group of people tends to do this thing more often than this group, and that's what stereotypes are.
Ooh, yeah.
But we probably shouldn't get into stereotypes as our first episode.
Yeah, people don't know us that well yet, dude.
Yeah.
But, yeah, we're talking about religions and whatnot, but another interesting thing about us is well, that's not really a surprise, but we were both raised and went to a Christian... Lutheran, whatever the hell that means, school, middle school and high school. So yeah, pretty fucked up, I would say. I mean, how do you feel about that now? We haven't really had any talks like that recent.
I mean, I had my issues with like the schooling and like some of the stuff they were teaching, but I think there are aspects of private school that like are beneficial. But I don't know. I don't think we should outlaw Christian schools, but I think they need to be monitored better. Because basically we were taught that evolution is a total lie.
Right.
Big Bang Theory is a total lie. God made everything in 7 days, for fuck's sake. I mean, that's what we're taught. We didn't even have to pass the biology, like, state test because they exempted us because we didn't know shit about evolution.
Yeah, man. I mean, that is, like, just so ridiculous to me. Like, being a little kid, like, yes, you know, I believed it, but at the same time, I'm also aware that other kids are being taught, you know, evolution, and so me being a young child, being like, okay, most kids are being taught this like scientific thing, and I'm being taught like this magical God thing that only I understand.
Yeah, they're being taught stuff that are like coming out of scientific journals, and we're being taught the Bible still.
But you know what? But at that time of my life, you know, I did believe that I had the right.
We're easily manipulated.
Yeah.
I mean, I get that you want your kid to be the same religion as you. That makes sense. But I feel like as a society, we gotta be like, this is what I believe, but you can make your own decision. I feel like that's a free and open society that we need.
Yeah, but especially times like these, man. There's like so much fear mongering, so much propaganda, so much misinformation. It's like I don't even know what to like. What's true and what's right anymore. I mean, people are always like, I believe my religion, and then some people are like, I believe this science. I mean, and it's all just different angles. Because if you think about it, if you believe a science, if you believe, you know, studies, you're believing that because you yourself did not do the study.
Yeah, I mean, there's like the only thing, as Descartes would say, we're a little philosophical here. The only thing we truly know is that I think, therefore I am. We know we are a conscious being, but that's it. We just know we have the ability to think. We don't know. I don't know if you're real. You could be a simulation. My body could be a simulation. Yeah. Everything it's like the Matrix. Everything could just be like this computer, or like some kind of universal simulation, where our consciousness is put and it perceives things the way the simulation wants it to. I don't know where I'm going with this. It's just...
Well, I think this is a good time for me to tell you that on this podcast that I was actually hired to... I'm an actor, and I've been hired to play a part in your life. And
yeah, that'd be like that Jim Carrey movie, Truman Show.
You are like a specimen that was created in the lab, and you are the first organic life that's ever been created, and everything in your life that you've done is everyone in your life has been keeping tabs and keeping data of everything you do. I just want to let you know that.
See, and like, if I was like one of those people that is like one of those truly agnostic people that's like, I don't know what the fuck's going on, I'm just gonna just go with it. Like, if I was like that,
Wait,
that
what's
would make
that
sense.
again? What's agnostic?
It means you don't know what you believe.
Oh, okay,
You
okay.
don't know if there's a God, you don't know if there's not a
Oh,
God, you don't
okay.
know if there's multiple gods, you just don't know.
Yeah.
Which, basically, we all are somewhat agnostic. You can't 100% know what is real.
A lot of people in the Midwest know that Jesus Christ is their Lord and Savior.
Jesus died for our sins, and then he came back to America to make the greatest country in the world. Basically, that's our mindset here, and well, that's not me and Josh's mindset.
It's so toxic.
That's just the stereotypical what the older generations believe.
The boomers in the Midwest.
Yeah.
So
boomers and Generation X.
yeah.
I mean, boomers
Generation
are really
X
bad.
too,
They're
yeah.
they're very bad, like at like religious intolerance. Not saying all of them are, but that's where it comes from.
Yeah, I mean, getting back to just, what we were taught in school, it's basically, the boomers were our teachers pretty much.
Yeah,
would you
like
say?
every religion teacher I had was over like 50.
Yeah, so, man, like, the way I think now and thinking back to just what I was taught, I was just like, that's ridiculous. Like, being in a private school, you're in a bubble, Everyone has this facade, rule follower, super nice. You don't want people to think that you're a sinner or you sin or whatever. So it's just, you always have this facade.
The girls that got pregnant usually dropped out and went to a different school because we don't accept that outside of marriage sex.
Pretty much everyone was white.
Premarital sex. We don't accept no premarital sex here.
Except our first non-white person. Well, there's a few Asians in okay, then our friend Jay came along, and he was in our friend group.
Yeah,
he still is, but he's...
Jay is our diversity friend. I mean, well, that's not the only reason we're friends with him, but he's like our minority friend.
Yeah.
That gives us a different perspective.
Yeah, he's Indian. He's
from India.
Yeah, he's from India. He's not a...
Actually, no, he wasn't born there, but
that's his race.
Yeah.
But, the majority of the people in our school were white, and the boomers were teaching us.
And most of the kids were, like, middle class or upper middle
class. Everyone is rich, too, yeah.
I mean, there were the voucher kids, and they get shit on for being voucher kids.
I feel like I was. Yeah, I definitely was.
Voucher kid?
I think...
I don't know. I feel like you know. That basically means they give your parents money because they're too poor.
Yeah, I think they were. Yeah.
I mean, I got the scholarship where you go to church every Sunday and they take a little off your
that may have
tuition.
been it. That may have been it. Yeah. The only reason why my family went to church.
I had to go to church until I was like 19.
Isn't that shitty? Like, hey, we'll help you, but you just have to go to church.
Yeah, you have to go believe this religion.
You have to go sit in church.
You have to go practice our religion to get a little discount.
It's just... I think what really threw me over the edge with the whole Christian attitude and everything was just... when Donald Trump ran for president, man, and that really did bother me. Just the way people accepted him and the things he said.
See, I didn't notice much of that at school. Like, he's, like... Basically, the end of our high school career is like right when Donald Trump went down the escalator and announced his run for presidency.
Yeah.
That was like right before I graduated. I remember it. So that happened right at the beginning. So I didn't notice many teachers like saying much about it. I don't know if they're allowed to.
Well, I think everyone thought it was a joke at the beginning.
Yeah, like nobody thought he was gonna win. I didn't notice any teachers like that were obsessed with him yet. I mean, there probably are now. But, like, when I got to college and Donald Trump was actually running and actually gaining ground, like, I had several professors that would just shit all over him, give this far left ideas and try to, like, they're not like trying to brainwash, but I don't know why professors are allowed to give their opinion, but like high school teachers and everybody else isn't.
Well,
I guess I kind of get it because you're an adult at that point. You can think for yourself, but still, like you shouldn't be sharing a political opinion in a non-political class.
yeah, that's true. I mean, I'm not. I mean, I know for a private high school, that's probably not tolerable, maybe, but I mean, as far as college goes, I feel like professors are pretty just like out there on their own. But I mean, I don't know.
Some are like I guess it depends on what like because you can tell like liberal arts that's where the far left teachers are, and then you got like engineering, economics, business.
Mm-hmm.
Stuff like that. That's where people are a little more concerned. But even in college, like you don't. There's not. I didn't notice many Nazis. I don't know. There probably are some, but like mostly it's either centrist libertarians or and like to the far left and like that range of people.
Mm-hmm.
But then when we were in high school, it was all either center or there were a couple lefties, there were a couple gay people. Like we was a little diverse, but I mean, there's gonna be gay people everywhere you go. There were trans people. I didn't even know about it until like after high school.
Yeah, but I don't want to say, but I'm just saying like our school still wasn't the greatest towards people like that.
In our religion classes, I remember I would get so mad at this, but I remember our religion teacher said that gay sex is bad because you get like you shit. So like gay sex is sinful because it's dirty and gross. That was basically his argument against it, and he used a couple like one or two Bible verses, but I don't see how that's an argument against a lifestyle choice.
I don't think it is, man. I mean, sex is sex. I mean, it's all genitalia and whatever, you know what I mean?
I mean, you got like pedophiles and bestiality people and people that marry their cousins. So like I agree. Consensual sex with an adult is consensual sex with an adult. Doesn't matter who it's with. But you have to make that differentiation.
I mean,
that's that was one of the arguments against like the whole gay rights thing. Is that if we let gay people get married, then we gotta let pedophiles get married. We gotta let or polygamists get married. We gotta let all these other people get married.
I remember that argument, man. It's like
it's so dumb.
Once we give in a little, then everything's gonna go to shit.
The conservatives love the slippery slope argument. I don't know if it's a fallacy. I haven't looked into it too much, but it makes sense in certain areas. But we have a clear definition of what we think is an acceptable marriage: two consensual adults that love each other. Bada bing, makes sense. Can't really go wrong with that. I don't think.
I do kind of see what they mean by slippery slope, though. Like, so, this is a little off topic, and I hope no one gets offended by this. But lately, like on Twitter or whatever, with all the protests that have been happening, and Black Lives Matters, which I fully support. I don't have anything bad or anything against Black Lives Matter, but there are some people out there that are looking for reparations that take rights of white people's rights away, like in like straight white men, white people. Like I feel like that's a little far.
I see that like the reparations argument could be a slippery slope because like how do you repay somebody for enslaving their ancestors? Like, what amount of money makes that right?
It would be a lot.
I mean, yeah. I don't know. But, and then when do you stop giving them money? Like, what is fair? How do you and just giving people money like we did that with the Native Americans.
Yeah.
It worked for some people, but most of them they're I'm not saying
opened a casino.
Yeah, like some of them got casinos, but like a lot of them are living in poverty and their lives aren't very great.
Yeah. I mean, I just, I don't know. I mean, the whole thing with the civil rights movement, slavery, that really wasn't too long ago, honestly. And I'm not saying that nothing can be done. I'm just saying that there's still a lot of, like racist people living still today, and it's just I'm pretty sure, you know, no matter where you are, no matter the times, you're gonna still have some hateful assholes.
Yeah, but one thing I think is annoying is that everybody associates like the Midwest and the South with like white supremacy, with neo Nazis, stuff like that, which they do exist here. I'm not gonna say that they don't, and probably in larger quantities. But like, I'll say most young people because that's like the people I hang out with. Like, I haven't met very many like super racist very young people. So I think like slowly it's gonna get better. It's just that like I don't know. People want a quick, easy fix,
Right.
and there's no quick, easy fix for this kind of like complicated issue.
Right. I mean, let's see here. I mean, how many generations has it been since like the 50s where there is like
Well, since Jim Crow, it's been 2 generations, roughly 2 to 3.
so the little kids back then are the boomers.
Yeah, that was the boomer generation. That's when people that are born then.
So some of that may have rubbed off onto Gen X.
Well, yeah, it's gonna rub off generation to generation, but I feel like as like diversity gets better, like if you're going to school with like every type of person, you're gonna like understand like that they're just people. They're not really that different besides like appearance.
Right.
There's no major differences in the races.
Uh-huh.
Like there's like very slight differences in certain specific areas, but most like we're all human. We all need the same things.
I mean, people
We
have
all
different
have feelings.
cultures.
Yeah, there's different cultures, but
And sometimes people don't understand
and that's where
things
I think that's
that-
where the issue comes in. Like, because if you mix two very different cultures and just put them together, there's gonna be conflict. And I
Yeah.
think that's what. But people act like America is their only place where this type of conflict, racist conflict, happens. But that's just not true. Like if you look at Europe, they were putting down the gypsies, putting down the Jews, putting down the Indians.
What is a gypsy?
Basically, they are
Like a hippie?
no, they're actually a race of people.
The gypsies are a race of people?
Yeah, so like they came from India.
Like the Kardashians? Is that because weren't they
No,
gypsies?
they're Armenian. So like the gypsies, I watched a YouTube video on it, so I don't know if this is 100% accurate, but I think they're assumed to have like originated in India, and they like went into Europe. They like migrated to Europe.
So they do travel. They do travel.
Yeah, so that's why they're like
Okay.
travelers because they've never like found a set home.
Ew.
I guess. I mean, nowadays it's probably not as bad, but back not even that long ago, like if you want to look at like the 1940s and 50s in Europe, there was racism everywhere.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean,
And the biggest difference between like Europe and us is that we have like every minority group in way larger numbers than they do. Like if you go to Europe, the percentage of white people is like higher than it is in America, I think. I mean,
Really?
now it's probably not because they let in a lot of refugees.
Well, America. Well, yeah. I mean, America. There's a high percentage of white, but America is like a collection of just
yeah,
like
it's
because
just you
it
can
is
find any type
diverse,
of person here,
yeah.
which you can in most countries, but you can just find them in larger numbers here. And I think that's why all this racial conflict happens, because we have every type of person mixed together. Whereas, like, if you look at most other countries, it's usually the country is based off of a race of people that basically has lived there for a long time, and they have an established home. But America, it was the home for the Native Americans, but we kind of took that and put them down. So it's not like a group of people developed here and made a home here. They just kind of came, took it, and then everybody else came and taking land, and it's just a clusterfuck of cultures.
Yeah. Do you personally think that like religion has to do with how stupid and just how jumpy people are, like to jump to conclusions and generalize?
I mean, I think
And how close-minded
I think
people could
people
be?
use
Because I kind of think that. I mean,
people use religion as like their excuse to like dislike certain things.
Yeah.
Like there's people that just don't like gay, like anything. They think it's gross. They think it's weird. They think it's not natural. They just use religion as their way of saying that it's wrong because the Bible says it's wrong. So therefore, it's wrong. Because it's hard to argue that this is wrong because I think it's gross. That doesn't make any sense. So religion is just what they use to try to, like, as a crutch for their argument.
Yeah, but the Bible is like that. At what point are we as a people going to be like, excuse me, the Bible is pretty much just like a game of elephant, you know? We found these Dead Sea Scrolls, if that's even a real true thing that was found.
Yeah, it was.
Oh, okay, so it was, but only like, well, I feel like that was debunked, but it was loosely translated, okay? There's been many different versions, hundreds and hundreds of years.
Well, it's been translated over, like, several millennia. So,
Yeah.
like, there's going to be alterations because back then, when you translated something, or when you made a copy of writing, you had to, like, basically copy it from one text to the other. So if, like, one guy messed up or decided to just change it, he could just do that, and then it's changed forever.
Yeah, I mean, so say the original writer, you know, he lived a long life, he passed on to the next guy, and he died. The next guy has it, and this next guy gains a bunch of power as, you know, like pastors today do, and they think, oh, God spoke to me, and he wanted me to change this, and he adds a thing about gay people being bad, or being gay is bad, so he adds that to the Bible.
Every religious text that's, like, somewhat old. I mean, I'm not going to say every because I don't know, but I know Christianity, Judaism, and Islam all have passages about how gays are bad. In the Middle East, they still stone gay people. So, like, it's in multiple religions. It's not just Christianity where this happens. It's just because I think it's just back in the day, like, that just, well, it was acceptable in Greece. I don't know. It's just such a cultural thing, really.
You want to know what I think, though? I think that it's such a fear people have. And then it's like, it's always been a thing, like, don't, you know, don't be gay. And then that's just something, like, deep down, like, and then someone is gay, and then they act upon it, but then they don't want to do it, so they have to make all these rules about it, you know. I don't know. I mean, I don't know. Like, so, when it comes to nature, it takes a man and a woman to reproduce and make a baby, but what if you're trying not to make a baby? What if that doesn't matter? What if that, you know?
I think humans are one of, like, I don't know if they're the only species or one of the few species that actually has sex for pleasure rather than just for procreation.
Right, and pleasure, yeah. People have straight sex for pleasure all the time.
Yeah, like, cause I don't know if it's because of how our brains evolved, but we just have sex for pleasure. And I took a evolutionary psychology class, and they said that it's just, like, in most species, the women don't get any pleasure out of sex.
Mm-hmm.
But in humans, they do. So, like, just that in itself makes sex different for us.
Yeah.
Because the women enjoy it and the men enjoy it. Where most species, just the men enjoy it. Man enjoys it. It's kind of like they just rape the woman. She gets no say in it. Or just rape the female. I shouldn't say woman.
I mean, well, yeah. I mean, when you look at animalistic stuff like that, I mean, there's no pleasure. I mean, the male animal mounts the female animal, even if she has a say in it or not, and goes to town and impregnates her. But you can't really compare, you know, humans to animals because we're obviously different. From our perspective, at least.
We're different now, but we evolved with animals.
Yeah.
So, like, that's why they do studies on rats and compare them to us. Because they're mammals, they're easy to, like, they have a lot of babies, so it's easy to get a lot of mice.
Uh-huh.
So, like, they just use mice as the, like, human, like, model, because mice are actually very, like, their brains are, like, similar to ours in, like, their structure. So they are good comparisons to humans. Because, like, I don't know. It's all the evolutionary perspective. You have to like basically accept that evolution is real, which
Well, yeah, exactly,
if you look at all the data, like it's a pretty sound theory.
Uh huh. I mean, if you think I mean, what? So okay. So I'm kind of jumping everywhere, but even if you don't believe in it, okay, even if you want to believe in the 7 days of creation, um, you could still believe in evolution too. I mean, like, how is the Bible gonna know what's a day? Like, how did?
Well, basically, like God created light before the sun and the moon. So it's like, how could we have had a day without the sun and the moon? Like, he created the sun and moon on the fourth day, so there was no days before that fourth day.
The explosion that created the sun.
Well, the Big Bang.
That created the whole solar system, the universe, or whatever.
Like in the Bible, it just says God created the light the first day, I think, and then a couple days later, he created the sun. It was like, where are we getting light from without? I mean, I guess light can't exist without a star, but.
I mean, I don't know. I mean, I guess I don't know where I was trying to go with that.
You can bring them together. There's a lot, like most Christians, I don't know about most, but a decent amount of Christians do believe in evolution. There's just certain groups that don't.
Yeah.
But they don't believe in evolution, not because they've looked at the data and think that it's false. They don't believe it because they're brainwashed by their like whole religion that the Bible's true, anything that goes against it is false. That's their mindset. So they don't analyze any of the data that backs evolution up. Because basically the best analogy, it's not even an analogy, it's actual like the best comparison I can think of is like, so you know the story of Noah's Ark.
Yeah.
So there's a giant flood.
I love that story.
Yeah. Two of every animal's on the ark, but
they made
every living thing that wasn't on the ark died at one time.
Except for the bird that had the leaf.
Birds might not have, but like how can birds survive 40 days without food or shelter? Like they can't fly for that long, so the birds would have died too.
I don't think the writer took much thought into that.
Oh yeah, the writer knew nothing about biology, so like you wouldn't expect him to know anything about that.
Noah personally checked the genitalia of each two animals.
He fingered every animal.
Yeah.
But if you look at that, you would expect when we dig up like bones of like dead animals and dead humans, you would find a certain layer where there's just a bunch of shit because everything died at one time.
Right.
But when you look at it, you find at the top, you find a lot of humans, you find a lot of like recently evolved animals, and when you go down, they go backwards in evolution. So you go down to like the single cell organisms at the very bottom, and the very complicated organisms are at the top because they evolved in that time span.
That kind of brings me back to what I was saying about, when I was in school and the whole evolution versus creation, and it was like, and then dinosaurs confused me because it's like,
yeah, 'cause dinosaurs wouldn't fit on that ark. They have the actual measurements of the ark, and there's no way two of every species could have fit on a boat that small.
Well, is it so? Did Christians say that's what killed the dinosaurs? Is a flood? Because in the evolution,
I don't know.
Because this is an asteroid.
That, like, humans and dinosaurs live together, which makes no sense.
How? That would be like Jurassic Park.
Yeah, because no scientist has ever dug up a human next to a dinosaur.
Yeah.
That never has happened, and it never will, because it makes no sense.
I mean, like, I had this weird image in my head when I was young, like, of Jesus, like, next to a T-Rex or something.
Yeah, they have pictures of that. I've seen them. But basically, it's just however you however you can rationalize it in your head. That's what a lot of Christians do. Because it's hard to rationalize something that was written thousands of years ago by people that knew nothing about how the world worked.
Yeah.
Well, we don't know that much even now, but compared to them, we know a lot more.
Yeah, I think that what was told me is that they're in a different part of Earth.
Well, the dinosaurs were, but basically oil is basically just that buried dinosaurs.
Yeah.
So oil is found in almost every part of the world. So dinosaurs existed. They found dinosaur bones all over the world.
Wasn't the Earth at one point like Pangea, or it was all one continent? Is that a for sure thing, or is that just a theory?
I mean, every scientific theory is a theory because you can't totally prove anything.
Yeah, I guess that's true.
Like a theory in plain speak is different from a scientific theory.
Uh-huh.
A theory in plain speak just means I had this idea, it makes sense to me, but I don't have any evidence backing it up, so it's a theory. But scientific theories actually have evidence backing them up, and then they become a theory. Basically, there's just a bunch of scientific studies that have something in common, and then scientists come up with a theory that makes sense of all this information that they have.
It was Pangea, and then the Great Flood happened.
Okay, you can't.
And then
you can't rationalize the Great Flood with any scientific theory. Like, it doesn't work.
See, that's why I'm stupid, is because I got fed all this false history with religious school.
That's right. You should have stayed in college, bud.
I know. Yeah, I'm a college dropout.
But I mean, like, they teach evolution a lot better in college. Like, it actually makes sense.
I should have went to a real school that didn't have to teach me bullshit.
I mean, ultimately, yeah, but I feel like public school has its own issues outside of like what they're teaching.
Yeah. Okay. Sure. Yeah. I guess, but at least they're not lying, right?
I mean, not about evolution. I think they lie about other things.
Like what?
I mean, history stuff. I'm not saying...
Like propaganda? Like they twist things?
Yeah. Like, well, back in the day, it was always, America's the best. We had dinner with the Indians on Thanksgiving.
No, it's
everything
like America
was nice.
sucks.
And now it's like, America was stolen by white people. White people are just... White people are basically the devils that ruin everybody's lives. Which, if you look at history, it does kind of... If you look at American history, it does kind of look like that.
See, I'm kind of...
That's only... Because people only know American history here.
Mm-hmm.
They don't know that, like, basically every other country had slaves. We just had them longer, which is bad.
Well, they taught us that, too, in Christian private school.
Yeah, they teach you... But, like, they're so focused on American history that you don't learn that Europe... the entirety of Europe colonized Africa.
Yeah.
They just went and took all their land, all their shit, and just profited off of it. But Europe's not racist, I think, except Germany. But Europe's not racist, it's just America. But every country has done terrible, like England and India, like, there's like terrible shit that the British did in India.
Well, at least America's never had an evil dictator.
Yeah.
Like Korea, Japan, Russia.
We've never had an authoritarian leader, which is a good thing.
Germany. To China. Maybe I said China. Yeah, they still do. But, you know, whenever the history books talk about something bad, it's always changed. Like, oh, what, remember Abraham Lincoln? That good, tall Christian president that freed all the slaves?
Well, yeah, it's always like, it's either your teacher is like super I love America, like yeah, some bad things happen, but it doesn't make America like totally, I don't know. Well, it's either America's the best place and shut up and get out, or America's the worst place and it needs all these changes.
Well,
nobody wants to take this middle road where, yeah, America has a lot of problems and it had a lot of problems, but ultimately, it's not the worst place in the world. It's far from it.
Yeah, well, see, that's what happens to pretty much any story when you try to tell a complete history of millions of people in one book. You know what I mean? There's different angles, there's different sides, there's, you know, a whole bunch of different factors, but yet it's all being told in one book, you know?
Yeah. Because it's hard to, like, say everything that happened. So, like, they have to pick and choose. And, I mean, I guess they should just pick and choose, like, some of the good stuff, some of the bad stuff. Which they do, but
I mean,
just from what I've seen, most teachers are either America's great or America sucks ass.
It's just hard. You know, it's just hard to pick and choose the right shit to say. Because some of it... Because you have to present it in a way that people will remember. So, maybe... You know, you can't teach people everything and they're not going to remember it. But you got to teach these kids these specific things because they're important, they're easy to remember, but as a big picture, those things aren't always, the full picture. So as you go on with your life and you learn these new things, and you also remember the things back when you were a kid, you're taught in history class, you're not getting the full picture. And I kind of went rambling there, and it doesn't quite make total sense.
I get what you're saying, but I think one of the big issues that doesn't get discussed in this is that there's a good portion of Americans that don't know shit about geography, that don't know shit about history, and don't care to learn anything about it.
Yeah, you're the geography man. That's right.
I won the geography twice in grade school.
I don't know shit about it. I always relied on Aiden for the geography stuff.
Yeah, but like basically these people have all these opinions, all these political and social opinions, but they know nothing about history. They know nothing about geography. They know nothing about culture.
Mm-hmm.
They know nothing about how humans, like human psychology. They don't know anything, and they're forming these opinions on very complicated issues that you need to have knowledge on.
Right. Yeah. And we live in a different age now where just everyone has an opinion, you know, on social media. Because everyone, I don't know. Obviously communicating online can be beneficial, but it's also like the most like fucked up propaganda ever and brainwashing shit ever. Like liberal minds on Twitter. That's the most contagious thing I can think of, man. Like, there's
liberal minds on Twitter, and then you got like the conservative groups on Facebook.
Facebook,
and shit like that.
yeah. I mean, it's both
sides.
Are bad, yeah.
But like, I mean, the conservatives get a worse rep because they believe the weirdest shit. Because they believe in lizard people, chemtrails, vaccines cause autism, world's flat. Like, they just believe this crazy far out there shit, whereas the left makes their arguments sound a little more realistic, but I think that's what makes it more scary is because they package it as this is like what we need to do to make society perfect, but like nobody, none of them actually think it through.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. You don't think the ending consequences in the end game there.
So that's why the far left scares me. I mean, I don't even want to say it scares me on the far right because it depends on how far right we're going.
Well, I don't know, man.
So if you go very far right, that's probably the worst.
Either way you go, it's pretty fucking weird. I don't know. I mean,
I'd say the very far right is probably one of the worst, but the far left is up there too.
Either way you go, it's gonna be like, okay, let me go into a world of far right. I feel like far right is just like, if you're a white guy, the whole world is like Grand Theft Auto for you. You can do whatever you want. You can hold your guns and just like rape whoever and
to
lynch
a certain
people.
Extent, I think most of it is though rich white people.
Yeah.
Rich white people can get away with a lot of shit.
Yeah.
That and then everybody just wants white people into this rich white person stereotype, but that doesn't fit all white people. Because even in America, there's white people are the majority, so there's even white people, you can separate them up into German, Irish, British, all this other subculture shit that other cultures don't really have. I mean, I guess Hispanics kind of have it. They have all their individual countries, and they're all different. But it's just there's so many people that are just lumped into one category. Right. The rich white dude category, which I do agree that rich white people get away with way too much shit. They need to be actually they need to be held accountable for their actions more. Yeah. But you can't just lump every white person into that. We can do anything we want. We never get in trouble, because that's not true. Right. I've been arrested a couple times. So it's not
a perfect system.
Yeah, it's not a perfect system.
I mean, I've definitely been in a situation where I probably could have, if I was black or if I was any other race, I probably wouldn't have gone to jail.
I think me being white has actually helped me in the criminal justice system. Yeah. I think the criminal justice system is I don't want to. The system itself isn't racist, but the way it acts just disproportionately affects a group of people.
Yeah, I mean, there's not a doubt in my mind that my white skin has gotten me out of situations. People, I'm treated different. There's no doubt in my mind.
Like an idea I had. I mean, I'm not saying this would totally work, but I think you need to put police in areas that they can that they either grew up in or know very well. So like if you're sending a cop to the ghetto, they need to be familiar with the culture there. They need to understand you're just sending these white people out into the ghetto that know nothing about it, know nothing about the culture, how they grew up, like what life is like there, and they're supposed to understand this culture that they had known nothing about.
Right, and that's kind of that same conversation we were having the other day. It's the whole defunding or reforming the police, and I think it needs a touch like that.
It needs reform and defunding.
Yeah, I agree with that, because we need police. We live in a fucked up, crazy world.
Like I've seen I get on YouTube every day. I don't watch the news, but I see the news videos and the titles, and it's just shooting at a club, shooting at a school, shooting everywhere.
Well, the liberals just want you to say no guns, take the guns away.
Yeah, and then both sides are stupid. It's either we have every gun available to everybody, or we have barely no guns legal to anybody.
Well, yeah, not to change subjects, because I liked what we were talking about, but I mean, the whole gun thing, I think it's just simple as there needs to be more regulations. Who can buy a gun and who can't buy a gun. That's simple. There's none right now. Anybody can buy a gun.
There's regulations.
Yeah, barely. If you have a record.
I mean, they're not accurate. I mean, if you have a felony, if you've been if you have any form of mental illness, you can't. But you can lie about that. But I don't see a way around that where you could release somebody's medical information to a gun dealer. Medical information is one of the most protected things. You can't give out people's medical information to anyone.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I mean, something's got to happen, because the psychopaths that do those mass shootings are usually people that don't have a record. They're just shut-ins. They are bullied, and like school shooters.
A lot of them are young, so they haven't really had a chance to get arrested.
Right. It's I don't know, man. That's too complicated that's a whole nother podcast.
Yeah,
but
we can make a whole podcast about that.
Because that's just crazy stuff right there. But more about police. I think you had a good point about, but then that could get complicated because, you're in the ghetto and not anybody from the ghetto wants to be a cop, and then what are they going to do?
Yeah. Which, I mean, they could easily use recruitment strategies. The Army uses recruitment strategies that get way more black people than the cops do.
That could be a conflict of interest, too, because say there's, people you like and people you don't like in that place, in that neighborhood you grew up in.
I'm not saying they work in a neighborhood they grew up in. I'm just saying that, if you grew up in, a more urban part of town, you should police in an urban part of town. If you grew up outside of the city, you should police in places that are outside of the city. Rural areas.
Yeah.
Which, it is hard because there aren't as many people from the city that wants to be cops, probably. I don't know. I feel like it could work if we did certain things.
I feel like we need to get a cop on the podcast to really dig into that, because now we have to get
the right cops, though.
Yeah, well,
a lot of the cops here aren't super. I don't want to say they're all douchebags, but they're very
douchey.
You can lump them into kind of a certain category of the overly masculine male that has to prove his masculinity by putting other people down. That's the type of person that wants to be a cop. Usually, not all the time. There are plenty of good cops. But
all cops are bastardized, though.
Yeah, so it's either you're bastardizing every cop, or every cop is perfectly fine, and we have to love and respect every single one.
I will say that the majority of cops, though, are exactly what you said, the douchey, needing to prove their masculinity because,
Which it makes sense why that would happen. Like, that's going to attract that type of person.
Yeah.
So I think reforming police and making it more, like...
You need a psychology degree to be a cop.
It's more of like a social service kind of deal when it's non-violent. Like, if it's just, like, drug-related, you send somebody that's an addiction, has knowledge with addiction, or I don't know, and, like, they understand drug addicts. You have to have, like, specific police for specific instances.
That's true.
We're just sending cops that have this universal training, and it's not even that extent. Like, the training that cops receive isn't, like, anywhere near, like, college level stuff.
I totally agree with that, but you gotta remember, too, dude, but people in America are fucking nuts, dude. Like anyone...
There are a lot of crazies, but, like, you should have, like...
Like, I feel like other places in the world are more civil, but here... You know, like America's like the Wild West, dude. Like people just have an instinct to kill each other.
Well, they do in other countries too, like Afghanistan.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not saying America is like the greatest.
I mean, we all have guns here. People on drugs are like swinging knives and trying to shank each other, and
we
get
have
dark.
all these crazy people that are either in jail or on the streets because we have nowhere to put them. Like where are we supposed? Like, I don't know. I feel like
a loony bin.
Oh yeah, I don't know, cause like I don't want to send them to an asylum, but them on the streets.
What do you mean crazy people? Just people that are so they can't, like, so bad that they cannot healthily take care of themselves. Yeah. They can't function in society.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean that makes sense. Yeah, because
we need more services for those types of people, but like I don't know, like
we don't pay enough taxes.
Yeah.
We pay for everyone's armies. Like you because we had a discussion like this earlier in the week.
So, this is the reason I think we don't have universal health care. Because we pay an extraordinary amount in taxes on our military. Whereas Europe, they have United States military bases in, like, most of the countries. So they're just borrowing our military without having to pay for it. So they have all this money that they're not spending on a military that they can give back to their people. I think it's kind of bullshit that we just get shit on for not having universal health care. It's kind of Europe's fault for not picking up their part of the bill.
I wouldn't say that. I feel like it's the United States really wants their foot in everyone's door. You know, it's like what
they do because they want to remain the superpower. But if we just
they want everyone's resources. That's what it is.
We have to look at NATO as like this bigger, like something that's bigger than America. Like we can't just view America as it's just sole place. Like we have a lot of allies that like would love to work with us. I don't know why.
I think
it's complicated.
I think Europe should pay for our health care.
I mean, probably they make enough money.
I don't know. I mean, it's one of those things where it's like.
I mean, I think that America does need to reduce its military budget. I'm not saying this is totally Europe's fault, but Europe needs to increase its military.
We have too many
output.
Too many enemies now.
Yeah, I mean we're
fucked
having
up.
We're having like issues with a lot of countries. We're not really at war with anybody.
Because of Trump.
I don't even think it's all Trump's fault. I mean, Trump definitely didn't help in certain relations. Like China. Yeah, he didn't help in China, but like he was making strides with Israel. Like he got the UAE and what was that? Some other country to sign a agreement with Israel, which that is like impressive in itself. But now Israel's having all this problem with the Palestinians, which I'm not going to blame it on Biden either. I don't think either person is at fault, per se.
Who could blame Biden? He's just a geriatric, old, powerless man.
I mean, yeah, you can't really blame Biden himself, but you can just, I don't know, you can blame the people around him.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I don't know.
I think Trump was the same, because Biden and Trump are both stupid.
Yeah.
Like, neither of them are, most of their policies came up with by, like, their cabinet and other people that they hired, brought in.
There's just a different attitude, because Joe Biden is like, oh, silly Joe Biden, you go take your nap. But Donald Trump, anything he said, you're like, you piece of shit, shut your damn mouth. You know, it's like a different attitude towards those
Yeah,
guys. Yeah.
that's just because their demeanor differences.
Yeah.
Trump's demeanor was very, like, overconfident, whereas Biden's demeanor is just like, just laugh at me, don't take me seriously.
Yeah.
It's just like we need somebody in between that. We don't want either side of that.
Like Hillary.
No, Hillary's not in between.
No, I did not vote for Hillary. Just by the way, I didn't vote for Trump either. The first election I voted third party, so yeah, whatever. And then the second I voted Biden. I didn't want any more Trump.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like 4 years of Trump was enough.
That was enough. That was too much.
I don't want more than 4 years of Biden.
Well, I mean, yeah, let's hope that they're... I don't
but
know,
it
dude.
Because we're either gonna have
The conservatives
we're
are.
gonna have a conservative candidate that's probably gonna suck.
They're not gonna have any. They're not gonna. Dude, they're not. Trump is probably gonna run 2024.
Yeah, well, I think he might run third party.
Good fuck.
Which, if you ran third party, that would screw the conservatives, and Biden would basically win.
Yeah.
So I don't know if he'll for sure do it, but I don't.
Probably.
Yeah, I think Trump's gonna run again.
There's too many people on that hype train, man.
Yeah,
I see so many signs.
Basically, if you are from Indiana and you have a white father, probably a Trump supporter.
Yeah. So, man, I'm so tired of that, man. I mean, like during the pandemic and the Trump rallies and like the election, I would spend hours on Facebook and Twitter just reading comments and looking at posts, and they were so sickening, man. Like it was like that's how I like got to the level of hate I had for Trump, is because of like just the stupidity and the hate in people on social media.
Which these people had hate before Trump.
It was just
I
exposed.
think Trump was just their way of like it was being more acceptable that they could share this.
Yeah, but you know that's one thing you got to be careful of is putting too much stake into social media. I mean, they could have all been trolls for I know. You know what I mean? They could have been internet trolls, or I could have been reading it out of context. Or
if you're looking at random people, but I know Facebook. I'm on Facebook, and like my relatives and like the older people that I'm friends with. They post all this shit about how like Trump is the greatest, the election was stolen, Hillary should be in jail, and all this other shit that just goes along with it. So like,
why do they think he's the best of all time? Like I really truly cannot see why people would think Trump is like the greatest president in the ever. Like
the only
don't
thing
get
you
it.
could argue that he was like, I mean, I'm gonna say he was good at this. I think he didn't even intend to make the economy as good as it was. I feel like that was just because he's a businessman, businesses were comfortable, the economy was great. So you could argue Trump was one of the best economic presidents because of how good the stock market was, how good unemployment was. But that's the only thing you could really argue.
That was the placebo effect, I guarantee.
Well, I think it only happened because Trump was president, though. Like, it didn't happen under Obama, it didn't happen under Bush, kind of happened under Clinton, but that was because of the internet.
Yeah.
So, like, because Trump was he knew businesses were comfortable, so it wasn't his intention. Like, it's not like he had any great economic policies that, like, altered the economy. Like, the economy was already kind of good at the end of Obama's era. Like, unemployment was just going down. Like, things were looking alright, and then Trump came in and just, like, spiked and went crazy.
Well, it's, Trump got elected, make America great again. All these boomers are like, oh, yeah, it's back to the gold days, good days.
Back to the 1950s, baby.
Yeah, we're back. Yeah.
Like, the 1950s were good in that a lot of people had, like, could afford housing and had decent jobs, but... like, socially, things weren't that great.
It's like, yeah, we're back to the good days. Quote, all, unquote, lives matter.
Yeah, I think
that's what I think in my head.
I like the 70s era. I think we need to go back to that.
Peace and love.
No, that was 60s.
Oh.
I mean, there was still some of that there were still some hippies in the 70s, but people kind of mellowed out. I mean, it wasn't like a hyper-conservative era, it wasn't a hyper-liberal era, it was kind of in between.
Yeah.
Like, we had both, we had all, I mean, we had Nixon.
That's weird, because
isn't Carter, like, we had, like, a variety of presidents.
Isn't, the 70s when the boomers were in their prime?
80s.
80s is when
70s and 80s.
When the boomers were in their prime?
Yeah, because they were born in the 50s and 60s.
Yeah, I guess it makes sense. Well, what happened then? Because from what I know, the 70s and 80s was a pretty cool time.
Yeah, I mean, there are still their issues, but, like, I feel like, because, like, when you think of, like, the Jim Crow civil rights era, you think 50s and 60s.
Yeah,
and after that, things got,
a little bit
slowly got better.
And then Donald Trump undid it all.
It wasn't just
I know.
It's been coming undone for a while. Donald Trump just kind of, like, was just, like, fuel for the fire.
Oh. Well, I was going to say it's over now, but I do really think he's going to run in 2024.
No, he is.
God, that's so scary. But whatever.
I don't think he'll win, though. Because, I mean...
I'm pretty sure the Republicans don't want any... If you're right, if he does run, it probably will be third party. I mean, you're right.
Yeah, I don't...
Unless the Republicans are so desperate they can't find anybody.
I think that... Because Ron DeSantis, the governor of Florida, that's who a lot of conservatives are getting behind right now. Ron DeSantis.
Ron DeSantis.
No, Ron DeSantis.
Ron.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought I thought the conservatives were going for Rhonda.
Nope.
Ron.
They would never go for a woman.
DeSantis.
Yeah, he's the governor of Florida.
Okay.
Which he's like he's the guy that was like last year when COVID was really bad. He's like, everybody can go to the beach. It's all good. That's kind of what he's known for. Which I don't hate him as much as like the liberals do. I think he does have some good policies.
Well, I mean, if he's a Florida man, he's got to be friends with Trump. That's where he lives.
Yeah, he's not like I don't think he's a crazy Trump guy, but he definitely had like ties with Trump. But that's just because the liberals demonize him so much that, like, who else is he going to turn to, really?
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't hate him. I don't know that much about him, though, so I'm not necessarily going to vote for him. I'm more of an Andrew Yang guy myself, but apparently he's, like, running for something in New York, and he's had a lot of dumb far-left shit, so that's kind of ruined now. I also like Tulsi Gabbard. I think she's really cool.
I need to follow that more, because I go on a lot of these rants about Trump bashing and whatnot, but I don't really have any other opinion. I don't like anybody. I don't know anything.
Like, I mean, I couldn't vote for Biden or Trump. I like the more centrist Democrats. That's where I lean towards.
Yeah. Well,
ultimately, if there was a pure libertarian party that stood a chance, that's where I would be, but it just doesn't exist right now.
Well, folks, that was our political / Bible bashing.
We wanted to talk more about living in Indiana, but it got a little political.
Well,
but that's just what we do here. We got nothing else to talk about.
Yeah, well, exactly. I mean, this podcast, I feel like, is, for the most part, going to be pretty broad. But we wanted to make it a point to bring up the Midwest stuff because that's where we're from. That's the ground we're on. So that's, our perspective, I guess. So, it's important to the show. As Midwest guys.
And we kind of want to show that not all people from the Midwest are just
assholes.
Far conservative, Trump-loving farmers.
Yeah.
Like that just do nothing, enjoy going to Walmart for a vacation. I don't think that all the people here are like that. It's mostly the older people. So we just need to get this out there that we're not all worthless pieces of shit.
We got something to prove.
Yep.
But I think with that, you have anything else you want to say?
Nothing specific, no.
Well, I think that was a pretty good first show. But we'll be back definitely.
Hell yeah.
You want to do this again?
Yeah. I don't know when, but we'll get back on here.
We'll get back on here. I really think we should make it a weekly thing. But,
Yeah.
I mean, that's kind of much,
I mean, we
that's kind of an unrealistic thing. But, I mean, if all successful podcasts would have a weekly release.
See, we could film it, like, early in the week.
Yeah.
So that we can release it by the end of the week.
Yeah, I want to give it a good edit. And I want to get this thing crisp. This episode is going to be crispy.
Yep.
So, with that being said, thank you if you made it this far. We're going to have some social media at some point. I don't know when. But you can expect us back. We should be on a good amount of platforms. You can find us pretty much anywhere. So, this is where I'd usually say follow us, but we don't have a social media yet. So just come on back.
Yeah, just follow us on whatever podcast platform you're listening to.
Yeah, give us a
like
follow.
if that's possible.
I think on some you can, but not all.
Yeah, I mean, it depends where you're at. I don't know.
Well, this is it.
Support the podcast in any way that you can find. I don't care how stupid it is.
Tell people that, please.
Yeah, tell people. Send us stupid shit. But we don't have an address right now, so don't do that yet. That's for later.
Yeah, I mean, this podcast will do nothing but get better. So, I mean, just stick with us, folks. Tell your friends, tell your mom. I always wanted to say that. Tell your mom. Please at least tell your mom
Please
about
tell your
this.
mom about us.
I feel like both of us are mama's boys. You know, I feel like we can... You know, we just tell your mom, you know, whatever. Tell your mom.
We just love mothers.
Mothers.
Not in a sexual way.
Not all the time.
No,
not our
I'm
own
not
mothers.
into MILFs.
Really?
I mean,
come on.
If they're hot enough, yeah, but I'm not like into it just because they're
Yeah,
hot.
I don't have like a
I just
oh,
care if
that's your
they're-
mom.
yeah.
I don't. It's not like a weird
It's like,
fetish.
oh shit,
thing,
she had a
but-
kid. Oh,
Yeah.
we're gonna do
Okay,
it.
yeah, I see what you mean. Okay, I mean it's a little creepy now, but still tell your mom.
Yeah.
And with that, we'll see you next time.
Catch you on the flip.
See you later.